When I first saw one of Greig Jr.'s sculptures some months ago at Gross McCleaf, I marveled at how work that does not exceed 12 inches in any direction could be so monumental and filled with gravitas. Clearly, he must be an elderly eminence grise of the art world who has refined his ideas for half a century or more. So when I ambushed John for an impromptu interview, I was astounded at how much younger he was than me.
My name is Greig Jr. I'm showing sculptures and drawings at Gross McCleaf Gallery. The title of the show is Subterranean.
I asked him how he developed his style.
In the past with sculpture, I tend to do things that are related to cultural objects. And I have a deep interest in cultural architecture. These works are somewhat related to that. They're related to archaeology, a burying of the past, an uncovering of the past. This set of work started when I was trying to transfer my studio practice from a big studio working in metal to my home and my office at school in order to get more time with my young boys. Show them the idea of being passionate about something, of having a practice. And the idea of home kept on coming up. A fear of what threatens the home. Bringing kids into a world that maybe in your case would have been nuclear annihilation.
They always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb, duck and cover. Paul and Patty know what to do.
In our case is climate change, right? And what threatens the home right now to most people. When we're gone, our kids are going to have to deal with a set of problems that we helped create.
I live at the Jersey Shore. Sandy didn't quite get into our house, but almost did. We do fear the next one, which we know is coming. And when I look at your work, the gray plaster looks to me like water, and the brown wood looks to me like man-made structures. And often the plaster is on top of the... Am I right in assuming that that's...
Yeah, it certainly is kind of a bleak representation, but maybe a talisman or a touchstone. That's my hope, is that people think, well, how are these changes going to affect me?
I understand that the layering of the plaster is a very important part of your process and aesthetic. Can you talk about that?
The layers are dyed pieces of a casting plaster, able to get very nice lines with it. And they're just there to represent the passage of time, the covering of something. And I think on a more personal level, you're going through your life layer by layer by layer. You're breaking through layers, and layers are building up on you.
And some of us are closer to the last layer than others.
This is true, but we all get there. I've always been attracted to this idea that art helps us understand the human experience. A big part of the human experience is knowing about your own end.
I graduated from the Academy in 1980, and I assume you are a more recent graduate. So tell me about the Academy and your current job.
I graduated in 2002 from the sculpture department. That year, I took over as sculpture shop manager. I've been up there for 19 years. Wow. I teach a couple classes, woodworking, and have taught all the incoming freshmen since then. I work with my hands a lot, so it comes pretty naturally to me.
Can you talk about your drawings and your essentially precisionist style, both in drawing and in sculpture?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a very obvious question, but why? Naturally, there is a need for precision. My background is in building. When I go to make extra money, it's usually building things. Precision is something that is necessary for building. The older I get, the more I try to escape that precision. And there are a few works within the show trying to really bring an element that is uncontrolled. my attempts at casting the layers, that's a little bit out of control. How the color will turn out, how it will lay on the next level. To me, a little bit. To other people, it may look like an extremely controlled situation. But I feel the need to think out where the marks are going to go, where and how the space is going to be filled, and that things are intentional. They're not accidental within the work. But there's a lot of accidents happening too.
Are you a perspective whiz? Although they do look like they're orthogonal perspectives.
Absolutely. They're not 1 point or 2 point perspective. Once I started making more architectural forms, I wanted to research how does an architect draw. All the measurements you take on those type of drawings are true to what is there, but they're not what they look like. I like that warping of reality a little bit.
That's the perspective the Japanese artists used.
I'm a big lover of Japanese woodblock, Horinobu,
Yeah.
of course Hokusai.
So what lessons do you pick up from architectural structures, be they famous or not?
A few of the pieces are directly related to certain forms. The one we're sitting next to is related to the Pantheon. There was a show at MoMA about the Yugoslavian idealistic architecture during the communist regime. Structures, a lot of them that we would consider brutalist, were made with this ideal of an equal humanity. And how now, after the fall of Russia 30 years ago, these things have become artifacts. And this beautiful idea has been abandoned so quickly and become the forgotten dreams of a people. What also is interesting to me is that this architecture was so ugly and tough, but at the heart of it, the architects thought that they were making something that was going to create a more equal society.
John, thank you very much. It was really nice talking to you. Your work is really beautiful, and good luck with your show.
Thank you so much, John.
All righty.